Hi, I'm Alex and I'm a YouTube newbie. Welcome to the late lockdown list where I talk about things that have been on my mind since the lockdown started. This is the second episode of a series on series where I'll talk about my most favorite, one of my most favorite romance novel series of all time, Nalini Singh Psy Changeling / Trinity series. Spoilers galore, that's it. That's a disclaimer. So who are the Psys and who are the Changelings? In this world, there are three predominant races: the Psys, the Changelings, and the humans. The Psys have powers akin to those of Professor X and Jean Grey, so their base powers have to do with the mind, like telepathy, telekinesis, stuff like that. The Changelings have both animal and human aspects, and they can change at will. And there's the humans. There are two main changeling packs in the series: the Dark River Cats and the Snow Dancer Wolves. As of this writing, there are 15 books under the Psy Changeling series and 4 under its spin-off, the Trinity series. So the Psy Changeling series starts with Slave to Sensation with Sasha Duncan, a Cardinal Psy. Cardinals are the strongest of the bunch, so they're actually measured only up to 9. Cardinals are rated at 10 and above. However, her powers have not manifested yet. Her mother, Nikita Duncan, who is on the all-powerful Psy Council, strikes up a business partnership with the Dark River Alpha, Lucas Hunter. Sasha then becomes their point of contact. So that's basically how it starts. If you want to know more about the story, please read the book. I don't want to spoil a lot of things or give you a lot of details because it is a disservice to the author and to you as well. However, I'm going to tell you the things I love about this series. For one, Miss Singh is a great world builder. She makes you believe in the existence of these Psys and these changelings, and it makes you, even as a human, excited about being part of this world where these creatures exist. She sets up the story so well without over-explaining it. She both shows and tells at the same time. I found it very easy to dive into this world that's inhabited by the gifted and supernatural, mostly because their problems mirror a lot of what we contend with in the real world, like corrupt politicians, violent crackdown on dissenters, prejudice against those who are unlike us. The characters in the story deal with their problems using their gifts, which we don't have, but then the writing of it makes you understand their motivations and decisions, right or wrong. It may sound trite, but the human element in the circumstances in which the characters find themselves are very real. It's so easy to just stay engaged the entire time. So after finishing the book, I hunted for the next and was completely gratified that it's a series. I get to know what happens after, and that's amazingly satisfying. I also get to find out more about the initially peripheral characters in the book, and I get to learn more about what silence is and why it's starting to break. The next books are about the rest of the packs with a smattering of Psys and humans here and there. The pairings are usually Psy and Changeling, but down the road you get human and Psy and then human and Changeling. You'll also meet the so-called boogeyman of the Psys, the Arrows. So essentially they're a squad of highly trained assassins, most of them trained since childhood. Fascinating bunch. The last book in the Psy Changeling series is Allegiance of Honor, which sets up the spin-off series Trinity. So in this book, spoilers, we meet an almost 1-year-old Naya, Lucas's and Sasha's half Psy, half Changeling daughter, and the only one of her kind in the world. And now she can shift. This is also the book where we find out exactly how many pup cubs Mercy and Riley have. It's not all cute stuff though. There's an abduction attempt, a righteous killing, and vengeance. All through it, we see the lives of the Psys, Changelings, and humans evolve to try to live in this world where there's now a real possibility of all three races coexisting peacefully. Of course, si vis pacem para bellum. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, but basically it says, if you want peace, prepare for war. So I've mentioned Trinity several times. The first book in the spin-off Trinity series is Silver Silence, where we meet Psy Silver Markant, the assistant of Caleb Krychek, who is the former counselor and now member of the new Trinity Accord. Caleb and Sahara Kyriaka's story is told in the 12th book, Heart of Obsidian. We also meet another changeling pack, the Stonewater Bears, and its alpha, Valentin Nikolaev. So in this book, someone is committing acts of terrorism against humans. To start, to undermine Mnet, or Emergency Net, headed by Silver. In the previous books, Mnet coordinated rescue and relief operations. So the 3 other books in this series deal with more of the fallout of the creation of Trinity, a shadowy organization called the Consortium, which is the reverse of Trinity. It's also made up of all 3 races, and they seek to undermine what Trinity wants to accomplish. It wants to sow discord among the races so they can go back to how it used to be, Psy, Changeling, and humans living apart and keeping to themselves. I've talked about what I loved about the series, right? The Psy Changeling series. But I realized I left out one important thing: romance. Each book tells you the love story, either the start of one or the continuation of the ones you'd read before, of the characters. The dynamics of the relationships are different, especially among the changelings, because they have a hierarchy. An alpha is his or her sentinels, lieutenants, and soldiers. They're also classified into 2 dispositions, dominants and submissives. The dominants are usually soldiers, but there are also maternal dominants, so ones who protect the hearth and home. In this world, submissives hardly ever hold eye contact for long against dominants, which makes for a power imbalance in a relationship where you're ideally supposed to be equals. With mates, the dominant submissive dynamic is less structured. It wouldn't make for a good relationship if the submissive doesn't have ways to be in equal footing as the dominant. Here is where the human side of the changelings appear. So the mating bond snaps into place only when both parties let it happen. It is up to the female, since all of the major matings in the story are heterosexual pairs, to decide to accept the mating bond. However, it is the male who becomes aware of the mating dance first. Like wolves, all changelings mate for life. So the whole mating thing is explained like a magical and psychic merging of the souls. I'm explaining it badly, but if you're intrigued, go read the books. Seriously. One other thing that I love about this series that I know I've mentioned before, but I feel like I should say again. This is a world you can happily get lost in. The way it's built is so intricate, like the details seem to jump out of the pages. I feel so invested in every single character that gets introduced in book. Of course, I have favorites like Roman and Jules, twin Dark River cubs who were introduced in the first book. I find myself looking for mentions of them because of how Miss Singh writes them. Like, they're adorable. Imagine having a toddler and a puppy or kitten existing in one body. 1 minute, they're children. Next minute, they're little baby animals. It's difficult to choose a favorite, but so far, mine is Allegiance of Honor. It has all of my favorite characters, and it's a great setup to the spin-off. I was so relieved to hear about the spin-off because I thought that I would have to say goodbye to all of the characters. This way, I still see glimpses of my favorites while being introduced to new people and how they form connections to the characters that have yet to be explored. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble on and on about the Psy Changeling Trinity series. The latest book, Alpha Knight, has been out since June 2020. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode where I discuss Nalini Singh's other paranormal supernatural series, The Guild Hunters. Bye!